Let's see if I can get down to the cookie. So you know, my mother's birthday is coming up soon, and since I'm such a caring son, I ask her, do you want anything? She says, oh no, I am fine. Then I ask her the real question, what about pie? So today I'm going to be cooking a special pie recipe I found on the internet, back 6 months ago. So I got this recipe from How Sweet Eats, and then I modified it a little bit to meet my needs. Okay, step 1, probably clean toaster. And step 2, get rid of waffle maker you bought for brother and he used only once. Okay, so step 1, we are going to need to crush up Oreos. Now the recipe calls for 20, but I'm just going to eyeball it until I fill my pan. Okay, I have 20 here. Now you could use a blender or a food processor to chop these up, but that is no fun. Also, if you're wondering, there is about 30, maybe 35 Oreos in a family-sized container. Now if you use a blender, these will get very finely chopped up, and at that point you might as well just buy Oreo Crust. If they have a little bit of chunk to them, it adds a lot of flavor. This is one of the parts of the recipe that you can change to your liking. I'm using double stuffed Oreos, but you can use peanut butter, you can use not double stuff, whatever you like. Okay, that's probably good. I'm going to put them in a big bowl. Don't be afraid to get in there and scrape out all the good bits. Going to set the bag aside, we might need it later. So for every 20-ish Oreos, we're going to need 6 tablespoons of unsalted butter. Also make sure you do not get the sweet cream variety. We're going to want to melt that. One stick is 8 tablespoons. I'm just going to heat up the whole stick because I know I'm going to need more Oreos. Now remember, cutting boards are for professionals. If you are not a professional, do not use a cutting board. Okay, we're going to take the butter and dump it all over our Oreo. Now you're going to be tempted to go in there with your hands, but it is very hot, so use a spoon or something. So what the butter is going to do is, as it cools off, it is going to harden up with the Oreos, and then it's going to make your nice Oreo crust. So you could use a pie tin, but they're kind of small, and I like lots of pie, so I'm going to use cake tin. This one is about the size of hand, nice and deep. So the nice thing about making your own crust is you can make it how thick you like it. This is, I'd say, about the size of an Oreo in thickness, and I think I'm going to use the rest of the package to fill in the sides. Actually, I'm going to save a couple so we can put them on top when we are done. This time I'm only going to use half a stick. Okay, at this point it will probably be easier to use your hands to get around the sides, so I will do that. Okay, I'd say that's more or less fine. We're going to put it in the fridge while we make the rest of this stuff, so it'll be nice and hard when we put in the filling. Okay, for the filling we're going to start by making some whipped cream. I'm going to use 2 cups and I'm just going to eyeball it out because that is how I roll. I'd say that's about 2. Now you could do this by hand. The last time I made this, I did it by hand. And let me tell you, it took a long time. So what you're going to do is go to thrift shop, find oldest hand mixer you can find, and use that.
It was 99 cents. I get copping it.
A little bit more. That should be good there. We're going to set it aside, get another bowl. I'm just going to reuse this one. So for this part you're going to want 8 ounces cream cheese. It's usually 1 package. And then you're also going to want, what was it, about a cup of peanut butter, which happens to be about 1/2 the size of one of these small little jars. These are 16 ounces, so I guess 8 ounces for both. But the peanut butter is another part you can go wild with. You know, I really like this peanut butter company, so I went with their Mighty Maple flavor. But you could also use almond butter, you know, stuff like that. Make sure the cream cheese is somewhat soft. You don't want to burn out motor on all the mixer. Again, I'm going to just eyeball the 1 cup of these. You can mix this by hand, but again, if you bought hand mixer, might as well use it.
I feel the need for speed.
You might need a spoon, give it a hand. It helps if you get a mixer that can stand right. Okay, now you're going to need 1 cup powdery sugar and 1/2 teaspoon bitter vanilla. Now if you guessed I was going to eyeball this again, you'd be right. And back again, I'm going to mix. You're going to want this to be about the consistency of cookie dough. It is a little bit wet right now, so I'm just going to add more sugar. Don't worry about getting sugar everywhere, you know, this brother's house anyways. I'd say that's probably good. Give it a little check test. I'd say that's pretty good. Okay, so now we're going to add the whipped cream together with the peanut butter. Now if you are a professional again, you would do this little by bit, you know, slow, don't cause mess. I don't have time for that. So it is all going in together. You know you're done once it is nice and moosey.
I can't reach the ejection handle.
I'm going to clean up real quick. So as you can see, after being in the fridge for a bit, nice and hard. So now, pretty simple, you're just going to spread it all out. I'd say pretty good for eyeballing it, eh? Now you could stop here if you like, but this needs a topping. If you're fancy, you could take the rest of the bottle of heavy cream you bought and whip it up, make it fresh. but that will not hold for long, so you're going to want to put it on right before you eat it. Since this is going to be sitting in fridge for about a day or so, Cool Whip will hold up nicely. Just make it as tall as you like. You know, imagination is the limit. The longer you wait before you put this on, the firmer this will get, so it'll be easier. Like I said earlier, I don't have time. What do you think? Pretty good, eh? Okay, last part before we stick it in the fridge overnight. We're going to chop up some Oreos and some peanut butter cups. For this part I will use a cutting board. If I can find where I put it. This probably would not slide around so much if they were not double stuff. My mother really likes these Reese's, so I'm going to use quite a bit of them. I'd say 6 is probably plenty. Now, all we have to do is decorate. Well, what do you think? Good job, no? Now that that's done, all I need to do is put a lid on it, stick it in the fridge, and take it to her tomorrow. Oh, while you guys were not, while you guys weren't looking, I made myself a little personal pie. I made it in a clear Tupperware too, so you can see the different layers. So let's see how it tastes. The Cool Whip tastes like Cool Whip. Oh, but you mix it with a little bit of that mousse. Eat some toppings with it. The mousse is really super creamy. You know, you have the cream cheese base mixed with the peanut butter, and since I use the maple peanut butter, you get a little maple syrup taste to it, and then you get the vanilla taste, and it just makes it all that much better. Let's see if I can get down to the cookie. I'm telling you, people need to start dipping their Oreos in melted butter and not milk. The butter will soften up the cookie a little bit, sort of like if you had mud pie. The contrasting textures is just out of this world. You know, this little pie is probably 1,000 calories, but I'm still going to eat the whole thing. I'd say this recipe is a 100% must try, especially if you like chocolate and peanut butter. I think my mother is really going to enjoy these.
Super set.